Hey, this is Greg McAfee, and welcome to the Greg McAfee Show. Now let's get started. Welcome back to the Greg McAfee Show, where we discuss steps to successful entrepreneurship, how to take your business to new heights, and ultimately follow your dreams. And today we're going to be in part 2 of improving your leadership. I've got some good information on 10 ways leaders can be different, and we're going to tie that lion back into this, okay? Because that lion is just someone good to copy, all right? Last week we talked about in part 1 how to be king in your territory, how to be number one. I only teach on that because I've done it. I've stayed number one since 2016, according to all the reports and all the surveys and all the third-party surveys done in my area. We always float to number one. Okay, so we talked about last week what's the smartest animal, what's the largest animal, what's the tallest, what's the heaviest, what's the fastest in the jungle. And none of those you could answer that it's the lion, because it's not. However, when the lion shows up, all other animals run. You know, so what's this lion got that everyone else doesn't have? And we determined it's attitude. You know, the lion cancels out all excuses for becoming a great leader, because it's not about size or speed or anything like that. And I mentioned last week about my favorite quote from Alexander the Great: I am not afraid of an army of lions led by a sheep. However, I am afraid of an army of sheep led by a lion. Okay, think about that. Okay, why would a lion become king of the jungle with all the limitations? The limitations of not being the tallest, the largest, the heaviest, the fastest, all that kind of stuff, or smartest. They're not the smartest. One word, and that's attitude. And we talk a lot about that on this show, attitude. Change your attitude, change your life. Okay? Change the way you think, change your life. Yeah, it's a lot to do with going from negative to positive, but it's also a lot to do with how you think. Will I be number one day? Will I be the best company around? Will I be the best leader around? Will people follow me? A lion thinks totally different. They have a totally different attitude than everyone else in the jungle. They see themselves as king, and everyone else in the jungle sees them as king. When a lion sees an elephant, it doesn't see fear, it sees lunch. And an elephant is 10 times bigger than a lion. But that doesn't matter to a lion, because a lion's extremely confident and they know what they can do. Okay? Now, the difference between a good leader and a poor leader is attitude. And the difference between a leader and a follower is attitude. Okay? So if you're a leader, you need to portray a good attitude that people want to follow. And your life is what you think it should be. Oh gosh, that's powerful, you guys. That's so powerful. Your life is what you think it should be. If you want to be king of your territory, number one in your market, change your thinking. Start acting like it. Start seeing it. And I'll tell you right now, a lion does not care what other animals think of it. It's his last concern. I've learned to be like that. I don't think I was naturally like that, but I've learned to be like that. I don't care what my competitors think of us. If I keep my competitors moving and chasing us, I'm happy with that. Chasing us means copying us. I'm happy with that. It happens all the time. That means we're leading. You don't follow someone who's not leading. You don't copy off someone who's not leading. When I went to visit Ken Goodrich and spent some time with him in Las Vegas, I copied some things. He gave me some great ideas. He's not in my territory. He's a true leader. He's leading our whole industry. I copied some things. I listened. I was a sponge. No different than Mark Swepston in Columbus, Ohio, Atlas Butler Heating. He's been my mentor since the first year in business. I'm a sponge. Anybody smarter than me, anybody making things happen and doing it right, I'm a sponge. If they're not doing it right, I am not a sponge. I could care less what they're doing. If they're doing it right with integrity and all that stuff, I'm a sponge. Change your thinking, change your life. What you think is more important than what you do. All right. Inc. magazine says there are 10 ways a leader thinks differently. Number 1, instead of thinking only of themselves, they include others. Leaders think of others. While most people express their hopes and aspirations in terms of I hope I get or I want to do, successful leaders understand that it's we before I and us before me. It's their team. The people they lead are in the forefront. If I make others successful, I am successful. Number 2, they instead of dwelling on problems, they focus on solutions. There's always going to be problems, folks. You're always going to have problems in your business. As long as there's people involved, there's going to be problems. You're going to have them. Just deal with them. Don't make a mountain out of a molehill. I just told my 19-year-old daughter, Tiffany's in college, and I just told her the other day, Tiffany, one of my sayings is, things are not as bad as they originally seem. Don't jump off the cliff until you've thought it through a little bit or actually seen the outcome. Don't overreact as a business owner. It's a lot easier to do when you're 19. If you're a business owner, you've had time to mature. Think about it. There's too many entrepreneurs overreact. If you overreact, your team's overreacting. Problems are real. They do warrant attention, but they don't go away without a solution. And leaders, lions, they have solutions. Knowing things aren't working is a good first step, but nothing more. Great leaders understand that focusing on problems bring more problems, but focusing on solutions open up opportunities. When you start focusing on solutions, problems dissipate. Fix them and go. Fix them and go. I train my leadership team and then their supervisor team. Fix it and go. Fix it and go. Don't dwell on it. Solve the problem and go. And number 3, instead of advancing their individual success, they work toward building a successful team. Most people think of success as something to be achieved, like an individual. Like, look at me, I'm so great. Look at me, look what I built. Well, you haven't built anything without your team. If it was just up to me, I'd still be in a garage or a kitchen table. One of the two. So, successful leaders understand that the diverse strengths of a team are much more likely to create and maintain success. That's why we talk about hiring right. That's why we talk about getting, Travis and I talked about the 3 team building skills. Getting different people on your team, getting the strengths filled out. The widget, WIDGET. Okay? It's an approach. It's a key belief, rather. Together, we do great things. But alone, we don't do much. Okay? Number 4, instead of making things complicated, good leaders simplify. It's easy to get wrapped up in the details or the excessive complications of business. But also learn to surround myself with people that know more about what I don't know. I know enough, but then they know a lot more. They know a lot more. I'm not going to be the accounting manager around here, but I know enough about my accounting to understand my financial statements and my profit and loss and my balance sheet. So great leaders have the ability to eliminate the unnecessary so they can focus on the heart of the issue. We spend so much time on the unnecessary some days, putting out fires we shouldn't be touching, right? It's the unnecessary. You have people on your team to handle the unnecessary. You should only be handling the necessary, what you should be touching. And it's an approach that lets us solve problems quickly and effectively. Clear your mind. Quit bogging yourself down with things you shouldn't be touching. And if you say, well, Greg, I'm just a 1 or 2 or 3-man shop, I've got to be touching. You do, but you can also hire people, not on your team. You hire accountants, you hire business coaches, you hire a board of advisors, okay? You can hire a lot of people for help without them being on your payroll. And number 5, instead of trying to determine who is right, a leader thinks in terms of what is right. By refusing to view conflict in terms of who's right or who's wrong, successful leaders know that it's about working together to move things forward and make it right. So we don't get bogged down in who's right or who's wrong. I said if I'm the smartest person at the table, I'm at the wrong table. If I'm a person at the table who can't admit when I'm wrong, I'm the wrong leader for the table. Because I have to admit when I'm wrong, or I have to admit when I make a mistake, or my company is not going to grow. And a good, strong leader analyzes issues, not people. It takes a lion a long time to get to its prey. Hours. It moves swiftly. It's smart. But a lion doesn't just sleep. We talked about a lion sleeps 16 to 20 hours. It doesn't just sleep 16 to 20 hours, wake up and run and get something to eat. It's got to work hard for its prey. It's got to work smart for its prey as well. And so do we. We analyze issues, not people. And number 6, where others think small, leaders think big. Where others think small, leaders think big. Fear of success and fear of failure are both attitudes, and they can keep you thinking small. If I'm only worrying about growing, if it's only all I'm worried about is getting bigger, all I'm worrying about is getting bigger, that'll put you under faster. Or if all I'm worried about is failing, what if we do that and it fails? Well, what if you don't? A leader, that's not their mindset. A leader's mindset, strategy, do what's right, do it better than anyone else, but just do it. Don't worry about fear of success or fear of failure. I've heard people go, well, if I advertise, I might grow too fast. Are you kidding me? If you advertise, you might just grow. We'll deal with the grow fast later. But first, you must grow. You have to advertise. Nike doesn't continue to advertise just because. They want to stay number one. Passionate about that. Successful leaders understand if you think small, you'll stay small. But successful leaders know if you think big, you'll get big. That's the worst kind of failures, thinking small. A strong leader, they don't let their fears dissuade them from thinking big. There's no fear about thinking big. What if I grow too fast? We'll worry about that when we get there. Right now, you're not growing at all. So I've told people that, coaching them. Right now, it doesn't appear you're growing at all. So that would be a good problem to have. And yes, you can grow too fast. And yes, it's probably one of the fastest ways to go out of business is too fast of growth when you don't have systems in place to handle it. But right now, you're not growing and you need to grow. So let's advertise some and see what happens. 8 to 10% of my revenue goes to advertising and marketing. Always have since probably my 6th or 7th year in business. And we've been in business 33 years this year. All right. Number 7, where others become distracted, the lion stays focused. The leader stays focused. Most people don't have the discipline or endurance to stay focused through the nonstop distraction of our modern life that we live in. But successful leaders, the lion, have the strength of purpose to see things through to the completion. A lion is willing to creep, belly crawl, be a sniper through the thick and thin of the jungle in order to get its prey. And so is a strong leader, a lion leader. Next is where others want control, they go with the flow. Most of us want more control in our lives, and we desire a major source of power. In truth, though, much of what happens in life and work is can be outside of our control. Successful leaders understand that anything you cannot control is teaching you to let it go and go with the flow, okay? Some things you just got to let go. I have watched entrepreneurs work on something so hard that they're completely stressed out about it and they need to just let it go. I mean, I think there's a kid's song, Let It Go. Let it go. I'm not going to sing it because I don't sing. But let it go. And number 9, instead of thinking, let's just get this done, a good leader asks themselves, how can I get this done with excellence? I say often we strive for perfection. As Vince Lombardi said, we know we're not going to hit it, but we're going to hit excellence along the way. And that's exactly what we do. And that's exactly why we do it, is because we're striving for it. We think big. You can always find a justification to cut a few corners when timelines or budgets are tight, but successful leaders embrace a spirit of excellence. It's just like these commercials we made. We made them in the spirit of excellence. We're telling a story. It's a family story. There's a grandma and grandpa and a mom and dad and 2 kids. Perfect little world, right? Well, it is. And it tells a story. The grandpa has been a McAfee customer for over 25 years, and he's talked about McAfee over the years. So when his daughter and her husband get new systems for their house, who do they choose? McAfee. And the grandpa's so excited that he brings pizza over to the house to see the McAfee units and to tell his daughter and her husband, good job picking McAfee. But it tells the whole story. And the kids say, the little boy asks his mom one day, why does Grandpa like McAfee so much? And she says, because they do Grandpa's favorite rule. They do what they say they're going to do, and then the little boy steps in and says the rest when they say they will do it. Okay? It's the McAfee rule. Do what you say you're going to do when you say you're going to do it, and then do it better than anyone. They didn't add that, but that's mine. Okay? That's what we say. All right? So, embrace excellence. And not because someone's looking over our shoulder to do it, but because it's the right thing to do. You know, you install a furnace down in a cubby hole of a crawl space, and you do it with excellence, and you do it per code, and you do it to look good, even though no one is going to see this. But you do it right anyway. You don't cut corners. You do it with excellence anyway. All right, wrapping it up here with number 10. Where others wish they had more acknowledgement, successful leaders work to appreciate others more. So where other leaders want, I hope I win this award, I hope I win this award, leaders are more concerned, successful leaders, lion leaders, are more concerned about appreciating others more so they get the credit. They get the award. Most of us are at least somewhat preoccupied with wanting recognition in some way. It's for our hard work, our hard effort, a job well done. But successful leaders are usually going in the opposite direction, constantly looking for new opportunities to acknowledge those who have done the hard work, the team that has done the hard work, the recognition. What kind of recognition can we give this team that have just broke records and went above and beyond our goals? They care more about giving recognition than receiving it. We fail to be successful leaders when we fail to think like successful leaders. In other words, you got to think big, you got to think strong, you got to think like the lion, because we will fail when we don't think like a successful leader. Changing mental habits is difficult work, but establishing the right way of thinking, having the right attitude, is required if you want to succeed and make a lasting change in the world. And yes, we can change the world. We can change the world one employee at a time. We can help them think differently. We can improve their thinking. We can encourage them. We can empower them. And we can change the world one job at a time. Continue to do it with excellence. Raise the bar of our industry. Raise the bar in your market. It's been done. It's doable. You got to want it. Because when we change our thinking, we change our life. And what we think is more important than what we do, because what we think will eventually equate to what we do. It's hard. It's a simple formula, but it's hard. It's not easy. It's not for everyone. Not everybody can be a lion. Not everyone can be a lion leader, but you can if you want it bad enough. Please leave us some comments or questions. We would appreciate that. It helps us. And as always, before we wrap up, if you are watching on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe below. You can also support this podcast by rating and reviewing on iTunes or your preferred listening platform. Keep listening. We'll keep challenging you, and we'll help you sleep better at night. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Facebook at The Greg McAfee Show. No spaces, no underscores. Be sure to tune in next week, and I'll continue to challenge you how to be a better leader, how to run a more successful company, how to build a stronger team, and all those types of things. Thanks for listening. And as always, carry on, and God bless, and make it a great day.